Jovan, this is for you, bud. Figured I'd just get this out of the way. I made you wait long enough. I kept telling you I'm going to do it. So what I'm going to do to parallel Clapton, I'm going to show you two ways to do it. I use a clamp method, which is kind of a handicap, and then I can do it freehand as well. I'm going to use 38 gauge. I've got the V84 or whatever, stainless steel 304. This is 28 gauge. I normally would do this on like 26 gauge or 24 gauge. But the 28 gauge is going to help me. I was doing the Razorback build that I was doing. I posted pictures of it already on my Facebook, but I'm just going to do it with this 38 gauge now that I'm going to use this anyway. So the 28 gauge is what I want to use to get my 6-to-1, I think. I'm just going to try it anyways, either way, and see how it goes on. But anyways, I've got my swivel on this side, got my drill on this side. Simple enough. Because we're going to be using the clamp method, I think anyways, period, with 28 gauge and 26 gauge, even 24 gauge, well no, 24 is a little big, 28 and 26 gauge, use a cotter pin. Get that thing perfectly centered in there, because especially when you're putting two wires on there, you need that core spinning smooth as silk and not vibrating back and forth. Anything can mess you up, and you want to eliminate as many possibilities. So I just bend it in. Pop it in the chuck, then I'll take the needle nose and spin it onto the cotter pin. Make sure it's nice and centered. I'll put my drill in slow speed. Click it over in slow. And I'm going to spin this the same direction I plan on fusing. I don't know that it really matters a whole lot, but it just makes the most sense to me. So don't try and unspin itself, which I really thought it would, but just kind of how I am. This was an older wire. I always use this as my initial Clapton wire, so hopefully it don't break off right now. I use it so many times to do my initial Claptons. So round, we're smooth. You want to make sure everything, pop it back in there. Make sure there's no vibration when you're running this. You want this thing smooth. And you see right now there's no vibrations. If I'd have stuck that in my chuck sucks anyways. It's the higher end drills suck, but for put a wire in them. They're designed to hold drill bits and stuff. But this should be known by anybody watching this. My primary reason for making this for my buddy Jovan. He's been wanting to get it going. So now because we got 28 gauge, I'm thinking I'm gonna try and use my smaller clamp. I got three sizes: a real big one, which I barely use, or this one, or the medium one. I may have to take off and run to the kitchen and get the other medium-sized one, because I use that to stretch my aliens with. I just clamp it onto a cabinet drawer and stretch out my alien on there, because I got a longer hallway. Alright, so this is 38 gauge. This is a big spool. I've got some spooled up somewhere, and I don't remember where I put the spool, so it's no big deal. I'll just take 3 arm lengths off to my left. I'm holding this spool in front of me, and I got longer arms. I'm going to take it stretch. I'm going to give a little stretch too, because you're going to have this wire laying on the floor. You don't want it curling up. That's 1, 2, and get that little stretch in there again. It's a little harder to do this with N80, but you can still do it. N80 don't come off a spool as bad either. Stainless steel is so soft. It's better to stretch with stainless steel, and I'd recommend to use with stainless steel if you have 38 gauge or 40 gauge stainless steel, if you want to do that. 36 too, but 36 is just a little big for me, especially for interlocking. I prefer 38 gauge, to be honest. So I got my 3 off. And I'm just gonna hold this. I drape it over my right leg just so the tagging hangs there, and then I'll do the same thing over my left leg, and I'll pull everything out this way now. Simple enough. Hopefully I'm gonna edit this. So give a little stretch. Come back to it, another arm length out, give a little stretch. However you want to do it. If you want to count rotations on your spool, whatever you think is going to be enough. I think 3 arm lengths out for me, that works for me on both sides. I have bad memory. Sometimes I'll do something and go back and be like, why the hell did I do that? I figured that I didn't like doing that before, and now here I am back doing it again, but that's just my memory, so not everybody's cursed with bad memory like me. Now that that's put away, let's get our ends. Remember, we got one wire going to our left, one wire going to our right. So that way these ain't gonna tangle up. But and I'm blind too. bad memory, I'm blind, so I've got my headset in. So I've got both of these wires here now. I'm just going to twist them up, just a little bit, because I'm going to tie onto it. And I'm going to come over here, and I've got a little hole from where I twisted it on. I got a little hole in there, a gap between the twist and the cotter pin. I'm going to stick it in there. Now, this is just a quick video. I'm going to make a much better, more detailed one. You can close up so you can see it. Now I've got both of these wires here anchored on now. You just got to get them as parallel as possible. You come up to the top of it here, and when you close your fingers like that, you're hooking, one of them is going to push up against the gap in your fingers, and then you just push it over to where it's parallel, tight parallel against the other wire. You can control that, and then you can just slide down and hold them parallel stuck to each other. That's what I'm about to do right now. And I'm going to get it started. You can maintain this, and you're always going to want to lead just a little bit. And if you're doing a triple, you lead even a little bit more. So just, you're going to want to watch that memory just a little bit, like kind of more like how you would fuse a staggered fuse. Not as much as an alien, but not on the direct 90 either, because you got two wires. You got to compensate for it and just lean up just a little bit more. And you got to maintain that angle when you're going down if you plan on doing this freehand. But I'm going to show you the clamp method. Hopefully my smaller clamp works. If not, I got to boogie into the kitchen and get the other clamp and show you. I just don't want to put that on the 28 gauge. It's heavier and just don't have as much integrity to it. So to get it started, you can always check in the top, make sure it's smooth. You'll see it all jagged and screwed up if it's not going on right, and it's not good. It has to be perfect, especially if you plan on using it as interlock. Now I got it going smooth. I'm going to take this clamp and I'm just going to basically just go up to it and clamp down on it. There's a gap in the center of these things. Make sure you don't clamp it down into the gap, so you want them to be to the left or to the right. You maintain this angle that you were getting it on there too. Don't change this. Don't take your hand off there until you get this clamp applied. So now I can let go of these wires down here, and I can make sure that everything's okay. So basically now I'm just going to start out slow. You don't want to go jumping in full throttle, because the clamp ain't going to react and it's going to cause more friction than what you need. If you got a fast drill like I do, take it easy on there. You want to throttle into it, lean into it, just so it's not as much friction and it'll just mess you up. And you want to watch it. Your job now is just to keep an eye on the wires going into it, watching it going on the core, making sure everything's okay. I've done triple parallel too. You don't want it all jumpy like that. You can get it going to where you keep tension on the back with your hand while you're holding this drill back. Keep tension on it. You can get it moving. See, now I'm in full speed. I'm watching my feed wire as it's coming. I don't need that snagging. I don't need it twisting. So I'm watching it, keeping an eye on it. On my left hand, I'm holding the wire that's coming through, so I don't gotta watch it as much. I can feel any irregularities. I just sliding through my fingers. I've got it right here. I'm just letting it run through the loops that I'm holding in my hand, and I'm watching this other wire, making sure it's fine. Meanwhile, I keep peeking back up here at the core. If I second question this core, I can run my hands over it. It should be smooth. It should be silky smooth. And see, now I see a little bit of a loop in the wire. You see that loop? I'm just gonna untwist it out and drape this wire back over. This wire does a lot of spinning around and stuff and flopping around. If I see any kind of irregularities in the wire, I'm going to try and comb them out. I'm going to get back to what I'm doing, starting slow though. You'll have that middle ground where it'll want to be more shaky. Don't be afraid to throttle up past that to stop it. Hopefully I didn't run out of memory here. I'm getting to the end. I've got probably about 15 inches of it right now, if not more. Give you a general idea how much we can do with how much you saw me pull off. One side was longer than the other, and I'm at the end of one. Okay, so one side's longer than the other. That's no sweat. I've got an extra maybe 15 inches, 14 inches there. I'm gonna clip these off shorter, so that way when I let go of this clamp, it can spin itself back and with no distractions. So get that junk out of the way. Just leave it enough where the taggings can roll back. And like a... Sorry, I'm running on low on battery. So it's on there tight. I'm gonna spin it back. 28 gauge tends to always do that. Don't want to pull down with this. Don't pull down on your tag end, but you put your drill in the opposite direction you fused it in, and you hold on to the tag. Don't pull down with pressure. Just hold it, and then eventually it'll start feeding back at you. That's when you know that you have your Clapton loose. So you want to check it, make sure it's silky smooth, especially with parallel Claptoning. It should be silky smooth. If you feel it ridgy, like any anomalies in there, it was a bad fuse. So, and I'm still tight down here. So I'm watching the wire itself shrink. Yeah, let's see. There we go. That's it. Now I can let go of this. I clip the other end. Make sure you clip it with sharp scissors. Clip it with something other than dull flush cutters, because these flush cutters will mushroom out the ends, and it won't allow you to slide it off. But if it does, it'll screw up your decor as you're pulling it off, and you'll see your wire all janky looking when you get it off. Not to say that it's not usable, but it just makes it a pain in the ass. So hopefully this helps. Let me just go ahead and pop this off and slide it off. So, and there we go. We just did 17 inches of 38 gauge parallel. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.